The terraces are packed. That is the start line at the bottom of the hill, and the first car that's going to come up, well, it's an icon, but it's not going to be setting the quickest time of the day, of course. We start with the shootout times, and we can cross over to the real DC, and that is, of course, our sausage-eating friend David Croft alongside Tony Jardine.
Yeah, slightly less talent behind the wheel, though. Thank you very much, Keith. Slow and steady. Probably won't win you the race this afternoon, Tony Jardine, but here's an icon, a classic from the Mercedes collection of years gone by. From the early 1900s, absolutely beautiful to see at the beginning of the top car shootout to find the fastest car up the 1.16 miles, the hill climb, to end the Festival of Speed, and this the 20th anniversary. The Mercedes 60 HP, what a beautiful car this is.
They're fantastic as well. You've got George Wingard driving one of them. There's two. There's the 1908 car and there's a 1903 60 horsepower car, as you said. And George Wingard, for example, he's a professional archaeologist and he's got a PhD in anthropology.
So where's he dug this one up from then?
We're not sure about that. But in the other Mercedes, Ben Collins is a vintage car restorer. He's loaned that one to Gareth Graham, who is driving today, and it does take him a little while to go on. But can you imagine Grand Prix racing in the dust and the dirt at this time, the beginning of the last century? Unbelievable.
Well, the beautiful thing is these cars, the Mercedes Grand Prix car from 1908, that did race in the French Grand Prix in Dieppe, but the Mercedes 60 HP, that goes back to the days before Grand Prix racing. Absolutely fantastic. We've just heard this car come past our commentary box, the Thomas Special. They nicknamed it Babs. This goes back to the days of the land speed record attempt to the mid-1920s.
Now, this is a very tragic story, of course, because Parry Thomas was killed when the transmission, it was chain-driven, struck him, killed him, and the car rolled over, and the car and him were buried on Pendine Sands where they were trying to break the record. It's since been unearthed, put back together. Look at this beast, land speed record holder that it was. Amazing machine from 1923. That's Geraint Owen driving it.
It is clocked, though, at 171 miles an hour when it got that land speed record, built by the legendary Count Louis Zborowski at Hyam Park near Canterbury. It was part of the Chitty 4 cars that were designed out of Hyam Park, and I think the largest capacity car ever to run at Brooklands, that V12 27-litre absolute beast.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're looking at the BRM, which was the 1.5 litre. It's the P57, and Joe Twyman is driving this. He's been driving this with David Clark, who is a top businessman, but he also used to be in charge of McLaren car sales as well, did David Clark. But Joe Twyman, incredible guy, because he got cancer at a very, very young age and recovered. So he's going up in that BRM.
Well, he's going up in the BRM, which of course was their only World Championship win, came with a P57, did it, Graham Hill, back in 62. This is even earlier, from 1914. The Sunbeam Indianapolis. Julian Majzoub is the man who's trying to manhandle this beast up the track here. And brilliantly, we can ride on board now and see what Julian has to go through as he accelerates into the first corner. Look at that steering wheel, Tony. You know, they don't make him like that anymore, unless you're driving a truck.
Well, Julian is unbelievable because he's Iranian originally. He's come over here and he's driven Alfa Romeos, Cooper 500s, the Bentley Pacey, Hassan at Goodwood itself. But he's also a director of the Vintage Sports Car Club. And he'd listen to his tire squealing. Can you imagine? And that's that direct steering link on it. You needed to be a real man to hurl one of those around. And of course, this went in 1916. This went round at Indianapolis on the boards and over the bricks. My goodness me! Imagine driving that at 140 miles an hour.
4.9 litre, 6-cylinder Sunbeam Indianapolis. It's one of my favourite cars from the weekend, actually. And I think we saw it last year, didn't we? We celebrated the anniversary of the Indy 500. So many anniversaries being celebrated this year and covered in this shootout as well, with the Porsche 911 and the Le Mans, and brilliantly made up time in the final sector, I should say, to cross the line in first place.
Now that's the Porsche 917. Now that car first won in 1970 for Porsche at Le Mans, and Dickie Atwood was driving that car with Hans Hermann, who is here today. And by the way, interesting story, because Brian Redman was on the stage with as well, one of the other Porsche drivers from that era. And he said when they were testing that car, it was so dangerous, none of the German drivers would test it. So they kept calling the Brits and saying, right, you must come and test it. They said, no, 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 no. They found out it crashed so many times.
Oh, I had dinner with Hans Hermann last night, an absolute legend. And sadly, my German not quite up to the conversation I wanted to have with him. But it goes up into first place, 58.44 seconds for Vincent Kay in that Porsche 911.
That's
Back to BRM now.
1965 BRM,
Yeah.
Crofty. That's the one Jackie Stewart made his Grand Prix debut in, and in that year he won the Italian Grand Prix. That really set him on the road. And Graham Hill, his teammate, wondered who the heck was this young upstart Formula 3 champion called Jackie Stewart. He joined him. He soon found out.
So let's just see then if this car is up for a fast time here. Andrew Waring, the challenge I think has been laid down. Now we're starting to get a bit more speed up on the hill. He does stay away from the Flint wall by quite some distance, Andrew there, and he's lost 2.5 seconds through the middle sector in this 1.5 litre V8 designed of course by Tony Rudd. Up towards the finish line now, through the avenue of trees we go, and it's going to be slightly outside the time, I'm afraid, for Andrew Waring. Doesn't quite make the 1 minute mark, 62.12 seconds. To the glory days of the British Touring Car Championship, the Ford Escort twin cam driven by Henry Mann. It was his dad's car and his son is driving.
But to big line, watching in my short trousers as I was there, Alan Mann Racing meant everything. Just look at the colours there, the gold and the red, and that was seen on the Ford F3L, it was seen on sports cars, Le Mans cars, because they developed loads of cars for Ford. And Alan Mann himself, who sadly died last year, his son won, Henry, you're watching now, won the trophy race for him and proudly took that trophy presented by his mum in honour of his late dad, who people like Jackie Stewart used to drive for.
Absolutely. We're going to get the thoughts of a real-life racing driver alongside us in a couple of moments, but let's just see now Henry make his way up towards the finish line. From 1968, the 1.6 litre four-cylinder Ford Escort twin cam. Not the fastest time, but slots in there just over the minute mark for Henry in the famous colours of his dad.
Now we're looking at Can-Am here, Crofty, because this was the March. The Inter-Series, which happened in Europe, was our answer to the Can-Am series. And March built 3 of these cars, absolute monsters, which of course anything goes, normally with massive 7-litre Chevrolet engines.
Well, we said that V8 has just absolutely rattled my ribcage as it's gone past, as it has done the ribcage, slightly smaller, of Max Chilton, who's with us in the commentary box. Hello, mate.
Afternoon, guys.
How was it up the hill today?
Oh, it's fantastic. The crowds are huge as always, and the weather is very un-English today, but we'll take it because it's very nice, and had great fun doing some donuts for the crowd.
Matteo Maria Tullio is on a bit of a charge here. You were doing your best to light up the asphalts today. You couldn't do a time run, which I would imagine was a bit of a shame for you, wasn't it?
I think a Formula 1 car up the current hill would be pretty scary, so it's a good thing we're here to just make lots of noise and give some smoke for the crowds.
Well, here we are. This is our little position overlooking the track here. Max, Tony, and myself, and looking here at the Lotus Climax 25. Tony is now going to go into reminiscence.
I'm sorry about that, Max, but I'm just getting very excited when I see those Team Lotus colours, British Racing Green, and that yellow flash up the middle, and that was the car that Jim Clark, you know, won his first World Championship in. 7 wins that year, unbelievable. And Andy Middlehurst, although he's a Nissan expert, he knows everything there is to know about Jim Clark and Lotus.
50 years ago, Max, this was the car to be in. You would have fancied it?
I would have, but I was born quite a few years after that. Good, probably 28 years, I think.
Yeah, I see even your dad was in Shaw's, I think 50 years ago on that one. Run by classic Team Lotus, who runs so many of the iconic Lotus cars that we see. Restored in 2008, and it had its first shakedown here at the festival in 2010, and we go into second place for Andy Middlehurst there in the Lotus Climax 25. What a car.
And actually, Crofty, that was overseen, the preparation of that was overseen by Bob Dance, the legendary chief mechanic from the era that I worked at Lotus.
Now, you've got wings on the back of that Marussia, but I don't think you've got one like this, even for Monaco.
Yeah, I think we should do a demo run with one on and see how it performs.
Ender Garvey in the Peugeot Pikes Peak. Now, this was the one where when the Group B technology transferred to a major assault on Pikes Peak and the Dakar Rally as well. Featured in the film Climb Dance, which you may or may not have seen, but this wasn't the one that won Pikes Peak in '88. This is the one that Ewa Kankkunen came second in, and it is just a beautiful example of the technology of that era.
It is, and Harry Vatanen then drove the car. As we were talking earlier, Crofty, they developed then four-wheel steer, and what had happened is Group B rally cars had been banned, but all that technology you were allowed to use in events like Pikes Peak, where you do what you want.
And if you don't know Pikes Peak, we'll talk more about it later because there's more cars coming up. You know about it, Max. Have you ever fancied?
I've only kind of just got into it this year because of watching Sebastian Loeb smash the record by quite a margin. It looks amazing, and I've seen some interesting YouTube clips this week of him getting pretty near the edges of the road, but I'd love to have a chance one day.
I think it's 156 turns, and it climbs to something like 14,000 feet. You do 5,000 feet actually in the climb itself. It's one of the great hill climbs, even better than the Goodwood hill climb here, which is being led by that car there, the Matteo and Maria Tullio in the March Chevrolet 707.
Here's Baby Bertha. This was seen all around the country campaigned by the late, great Jerry Marshall, who was great on the track. He was great in the beer tent afterwards, but a very entertaining character. And this had a V8 Repco engine in it. Incredible finishing record that you would have been proud of in Formula One. Anyone would have been proud of, but it absolutely smashed the opposition.
It certainly did, but it built out of the remains of the Big Bertha. This is the Baby Bertha, but it was the remains of the Big Bertha that actually gave them the inspiration and, more importantly, the spare parts. And he's not far off Chris Connolly here. He's coming up to the line now. Might just be in a position to put himself into first place, and does. By 0.8 of a second, Chris Connolly moves into the lead.
That's a good effort there. Jerry Marshall would have been proud of that. Now we have the Ferrari what looks like a 312P.
Yeah, no, this should be the 312. I'm going to get all technical with you. The B3S, which I don't think ever raced. It was a test car, wasn't it, for Ferrari?
Right.
Nicknamed the Spazanov. Or is it the...
That's the
it should be the B3S if they're all running to order, but sadly it looks like they're not.
That's why I thought it was a 312 sports car, which was driven by the likes of Mazzario and the likes of X and so on. An absolutely glorious looking car, as you can see. And it was campaigned vigorously by Ferrari, all the major races around the world, you know, including Le Mans, including Sebring, with an enormous amount of success. And Paul Knapfield, who has a succession of these cars and who's a very good driver himself, has been up the hill this morning in his Chevrolet Camaro, the 7.5-litre car. He also owns some other iconic Ferraris as well, and he's been quite quick indeed as Paul Knapfield up the hill.
Fantastic. Need some earplugs, that one. Now this car I do recognise, because this car, Max, was the first model car I ever had as a young boy. The Tyrrell Cosworth 06, Jackie Stewart's Tyrrell from 1973, and I've no idea where it is now, but I wish I could find it.
It's a stunning car. I had a good chat with Jackie Stewart whilst he was in it earlier, and he felt right back at home in it.
Yeah, well, he was at home in this car, and it was a brilliant car. His teammate that year tragically died in the American Grand Prix, Francois Sever, who'd been groomed to take over from him. Yeah. But this was Jackie Stewart's, as you say, favourite Grand Prix car. And then in his last championship year, 99 Grand Prix, had he gone through the American Grand Prix, he would have made the 100, but no one could really live with him with this beautiful car from Ken Chopper Tyrrell, built down there in Surrey.
Yeah, he was telling me that he won in that car around the Nordschleife by over 4 minutes. I've never heard of such an amazing margin, so I don't think we'll hear of a margin like that again.
No, you won't. You won't.
Just fantastic. I could watch this car go up all day long. But sadly, we've got a hill shoot to complete, and we'll get on with the action in a few moments' time. Once we've heard from the top of the hill, Enda Garvey is with Anna.
Enda, you're currently 5th quickest. Sadly, you've not done enough to take the win. You're driving a Pikes Peak Peugeot. Fantastic car. How was that drive for you?
Well, we've had a few issues all weekend. It's probably only running about 60% of what it should be running, but it's great to bring the car here to such a lovely event, let the crowd see it, hear the noise, and just join in the whole festive weekend.
Just what kind of issues have you had with the car?
Fueling and turbo problems, the ignition's just not quite right, but these old cars, the old software is very difficult to change, so we've been trying our best to try and do something with it, but hopefully maybe if we're back next year, it'll all be sorted.
Still great fun, just ripping up that hill though.
Oh, it's fantastic, and it'll just be interesting to see how the new 208 Pikes Peak car does. It's 26 years old now, this car, so it's interesting to see the development now of the new generation cars.
Who do you fancy for the win of the hill climb?
Well, I'm hoping Peugeot do it. It'd be very nice now to see the car having won Pikes Peak 2 weeks ago with Sebastian. It'll be interesting to see now how it goes. So hopefully, come on, Peugeot.
Thanks ever so much, Enda. Thank you.
Brilliant. Enda Garvey. And we'll see more Pikes Peak challenges in a few moments' time. Talking of which, it's getting a little bit serious. Here's another Pikes Peak challenger. Listen to this, Tony. Can you hear this? No. This is the Toyota TMG EVP002. This is Rod Millen, who's actually gone onto the grass and got a bit of dirt going there. This is the electric racer. Seriously, 600 brake horsepower electric racer.
I know, and he's having to use this because he shunted the Tacoma Pikes Peak pickup vehicle, and that was the second year in succession that he's had an accident here. Yes, he was fine, but he tore the bodywork off after the front splitter broke on the car. And by the way, this chap used to be quite a top stuntman too.
Yes, he did, and he was also king of the mountain. Was Rod Millen for 13 years? I think he held the record. And look at that, he's gone a 48 seconds here, which is a really competitive time indeed for an electric car with more power than a Ferrari 458.
Do you know what, Crofty? I reckon that had a loudspeaker on the rollover hoop there because it made a whir as it went past.
48 dead. Max, you raised your eyebrows at that time.
That was pretty fast for an electric car.
The
only downside was the noise to it.
Okay, well, if it's noise you want, right, let's have a Nissan GTR. Not the most subtle car on the planet, and I thank the Lord for that, because this is one of my faves.
They do have those digital systems now where you can select inside the car what car you want it to sound like. So I think it's the new Renault Clio. You can set it to sound like the GTR, which is just coming up now.
Right, this is an interesting one because Alex Buncombe also trains the gamers to racers in GT Academy.
That's right.
And this is the GT3 Nissan, which is as close as you can get to the road version. 500 brake horsepower, twin turbo. And now, as you know, on the game...
on Gran Turismo 6.
On Gran Turismo 6. This course at Goodwood Hill Climb is now included, which is fantastic news.
Yeah, so if you want to do the Goodwood Hill Climb, you can. We're riding on board now, so you can see exactly what it looks like. And you can see there, Max, you are fighting this track all the way through.
Yeah, he's absolutely on it through there. That flint wall comes towards you a lot quicker than you can imagine. We can see he's up. He was fully committed there.
Yeah, by
and now
5.
he's got I'm not sure in that car if this corner's flat, but it was for me earlier.
It certainly should be flat. Alex Buncombe, GT racer, and goes into the lead with a 47.79. So now the pace is picking up as we move in towards the top 5, and 50 years of the Porsche 911. Why not have the Porsche 911 from the GT3 Cup? Daniel Lloyd, this boy has been going well this weekend.
He has very, very well indeed, but he has quite a bit of experience being the Porsche Carrera Cup in GBs with Team Parker Racing. He's been in VW Sirocco R Cup, but every time I've heard an interview with him, he said, oh, I should have got quicker or put my wheel on the grass. He's going to make a big effort now.
Oh, what a start. He's already nearly half a second up in the first 100 metres, although he's getting all out of shape a little bit and onto the dirt as he comes round the first major turn and past the house itself. Malcolm coming up next, and it is very, very narrow, that track. You just can't afford to dip a tyre into the dirt. No,
it's amazing. The tyres around here don't get fully up to temperature, of course, because you just go from a standing start, so you haven't got as much grip as you should. and he was just dancing around there through the flint wall, but he's just up. It's going to be very close to him.
Good job, he had a good start here, Daniel Lloyd. Only 5 100ths up as we come up to the line now, past Cairns Seat, the final corner here, towards the line, and he's lost a bit of time in the final stretch. Big shame.
It is a big shame, and yesterday he made a massive effort, but there was a bit of oil on the course, and he got sideways and he got a bit ragged as well.
Alex Buncombe going off to see, I think, the timing screen and find out if he's still in front, and he is still in front. Here's another car that you might not hear before it comes your way, but you'll certainly feel the breeze as it moves past you. It's the Lola Drayson B12. It's another electric power. Johnny Cocker is the man driving this. 4 electric motors for the car, built in 2012.
Yeah, and Johnny Cocker, he's done a lot of British GT racing, ALMS as well. Now this is incredible because the car very recently with Lord Drayson, as you say, broke the electric vehicle land speed record at 203 miles per hour on an airfield in Yorkshire.
What's your 0 to 100 in your Marussia, Max?
It really depends on how we get our starts and how the team set up the clutches. But
say you got
without
it right.
a racing driver excuses, it's probably 4.5, I'd say, something like that.
Well, this one can do 0 to 100 in 5.1 seconds. This is electric motor, and he is up by 0.2 of a second. Is Johnny Cocker.
And Lord Drayson, who's an ex-government minister, who Drayson Technologies have developed this Lola-based chassis, and he said, look, we're not against the hybrid cars, we are all electric. So that's a fantastic time.
Yeah, that'll do, Cocker. 47.34.
Don't believe he said that.
Was that 133 miles an hour, the finishing?
Yes.
Okay, I got 155 earlier, so they've got a bit of time to find there.
You did 155
Yeah.
with the clock. Wow. Okay, Group C action for you, anybody. Let's try it. Justin Law has been flying up the hill in a transit van. Now we go to the Jaguar XJR from 1987, 7-litre V12 World Sports prototype championship winning car, and he's soaring away at the wheel already. He has got a very competitive time of 47.34 to beat, has Justin Law here, and he has still got Gregory Gilbert in the Peugeot 208 to try and topple his time. And look at this, great first sector, up by 0.4 of a second.
That is remarkable, and of course for many of the fans here who've journeyed to Le Mans, and you know, 250,000 of them go every year, they will have seen this car in action at Le Mans in the 90s. Seeing people like Andy Wallace driving it, and Raoul Boesel, who won the World Sports Car Championship in the Jaguar.
That'll do. Justin Law, 45.95. We're into the 45s. Perfect conditions, this. That was the man who was leading, Johnny Cocker. By the time he gets his helmet off, he's going to be in second place, I'm afraid. 45.95.
It's amazing. I think the record, what is it, at 41? So they're only 4 seconds off from a car which is no way has the performance of a Formula 1 car. So it's a staggering, and he did a great
So,
job.
who can win the shootout? Justin Law has it at the moment. One man can stop him, and it's this man, Gregory Gilbert. This is Sebastian Loeb's Pikes Peak Challenger, the Peugeot 208. They borrowed the wing from the former Peugeot Le Mans car to give it all the downforce it needed, and look at that, it's nearly a second up.
Oh, that's amazing. Mind you, it is a works car. It has come from Pikes Peak, and 9 times World Rally Champion Sebastian Loeb, who we were talking about before, who beat the record up there by nearly a minute and a half. Look at that.
He's lost time. He's now 5 100ths down. It is all about the final sector now. It's either Justin Law or it's Gregory Gilbert. He comes to cross the line, and he's not done it. He didn't pick up the pace as the time went on. This morning he was far faster than that. It is Justin Law who wins the shootout for 2013, and it was between the Jaguar and the Peugeot, and for once the Pikes Peak did not master the hill climb.
That is unbelievable. That is the privateer beating the works team. That's the equivalent of it here on the hill at Goodwood.
Let's try and hear from the winner now, see how he's feeling down there. Anna Woolhouse.
Justin, you are the winner of the hill climb. How do you feel? How was the drive for you?
Oh, that felt really good. So yeah, I'm over the moon.
Do you know your time that you've done it in?
I think it was someone said 45 something.
It's a pretty good time, isn't it?
Yeah, the couple of areas that I got wrong at various different times throughout the weekend, and I think I got them both right then. Yeah, felt really good.
Well, congratulations, you are the winner of the 2013 Goodwood Festival of Speed Hill Climb.
Thank you very much.
Blazing hot sunshine here at the Festival of Speed, and a giant has been killed here on the hill climb. With me, Anthony Reid, and we'll have more reaction when we come back from this very short break. Fantastic. There it is then. Was that a giant killing, Anthony Reid? I think it probably was, wasn't it?
I think it was great. I mean, Justin and I are good friends. He's a festival favourite. He's in an iconic car, the Silk Cut Jaguar, which did extremely well at races like Le Mans and also in the World Sports Car Championship. Fantastic.
You said to me at the beginning of when you joined us here in the studio that you need to make the start. That Pikes Peak car made the start. The first couple of turns got itself sorted out. Driver error, somewhere up by the Flint Wall?
I think up by the Flint Wall he lost his rhythm. It's a scary place, you know, it probably just took him out of the zone, and it looked a bit untidy there. I think that's where he lost the event.
Indeed. Well, let's confirm the results then as we have them for the 2013 Festival of Speed. You can see the iconic Porsches up in front of Goodwood House a moment ago. There it is then. Justin Law takes the win, 45.95 for him. Gregory Gilvert finished second in the Pikes Peak car, which was amazing. And of course, Cocker, Buncombe, Millen, Lloyd, Willis and Knapfield round out our leaderboard finishers after the shootout today. Looking further down the order, Garvey on the other Pikes Peak car, the 205, was down with a 59.23. And while you read through the rest of the finishers, let's go back up to Anna Woolhouse at the top of the hill, where we have our winner.
Lord Marshall, what a fantastic weekend. The weather certainly came for us. And what a climax, a fantastic hill climb.
Yeah, it was, as you say, a great climax to a fabulous weekend. We've had a really hot one, and to see the Silk Cut Jaguar here with Justin at the wheel is fantastic. It's a brilliant result.
It is so great to see. Is it 200,000 people have turned out for this event?
200,000 people have been here over the weekend, yes, biggest car event in the world. Fantastic
stuff. So you are going to present Justin with the bottle of champagne, I do believe. Here we go. just get rid of the phone. The most important bit. Here we go, Justin. 45.95 seconds. Awesome.
Justin, well done.
Thank you.
You've been here every year, I think, and you've certainly cracked it. Well done.
Thank you
well
very
The
much.
thing is, Justin, you've got to wait till you drive down the hill before you can have a drink of that, just so you know.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Got to say, Lord March enjoys his estate in the best possible way. Anthony, I mean, obviously you're a stalwart of the Festival of Speed. I mean, it is a fantastic event. On that note, it gets better and better every single year. I mean, for you,